Oh, okay. We are live. We are back. Hello.
Hello?
We are at round two right now. Round two is Zach Krekeler versus Mysterious Player. Mysterious Player was live with me before Slight joined. They are playing kind of a lightning mirror match. And before we talk about the game itself, I would like to talk about these players' decks first. So, do you want to talk about their decks, their deck lists?
Yeah, absolutely. So Zach is playing with a bunch of the new cards that have been added to the cube since its last play. So that is the Dragonite line and a couple of the new Metagrosses, or specifically the Undaunted Metagross, that is supposed to be kind of a good complementing attacker for the deck that it was lacking before. So Zach's strategy is essentially going to be to get as many energy in play as possible and capitalize on that with cards like Metagross Delta and with big attackers like Metagross Undaunted, and just kind of recycle those attackers a couple of times and really force the opponent to deal with big guys and deal big damage. Of course, that is not necessarily the easiest task. Zach does have to set up multiple stage twos to be able to accomplish that. And so to that end, Zach has a Cleffa, a Download Porygon, Evolutionary Light, Dark Dragonair, and then Zach also has an Ampharos line in to give a little bit more energy mobility, along with the Tailwind Dragonite that will give free retreat to any of his Pokemon. So it essentially allows Zach to pivot at a moment's notice into any of the other attackers in his deck as long as he has the energy in play. So I think it's a really neat deck. We see Zach has a really robust supporter line, pretty hefty count. What is that, like 17 supporters to use with that
Wow.
download? So that's really, really nice. And then he's got just a solid item search core, and then two really powerful stadiums in Mount Coronet and Sunnyshore City Gym. So it's a multiple stage two deck, but it's also pretty straightforward. Zach's just trying to get a lot of energy in play, trying to make it hard for his opponent to take prizes, and trying to basically deal as much damage as possible with the cards that he has. On the other side of the table, we have Mysterious Player. Mysterious Player is coming in as first seed in this event, which is always a very impressive thing. And so, what is Mysterious Player doing this time? He is playing kind of this like hybridy spread kind of thing. So, Mysterious Player has a 3/2/2 Ampharos line with the jamming and acceleration bolt Amphoroses, and then a 2/1 Hippowdon line, notably with the 11th hour tackle from the Hippopotas, and then a 3/2 Manectric line featuring Manectric EX and Manectric from Platinum. So Mysterious Player here is kind of aiming to play a lot of angles, and really it seems like the goal is probably to spread, and then there is a really nasty combo with Mysterious Player has kind of like a three-pronged attack here of disconnect to shut off opposing items, and then jamming to punish them when they play their supporters. So those are, the two primary means of consistency for most decks. But then there's a third angle, which is the Manectric from Platinum with Power Wave to punish the powers that the opponent plays as well. So really, it's going to be a struggle to set up under Mysterious Player's lock if that Manectric EX and Jamming Ampharos come down quickly enough. And in this game, we see Mysterious Player have a little bit of a slow start. So I don't think that's going to happen right away. And I think what this match is going to boil down to is if Zach has enough time to set his guys up, then it's going to be significantly more difficult for Mysterious Player to win the game.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with me, but these two players are playing right into their own strengths. When I see Zach playing Cube, I see he always goes for like a very simple, straightforward deck. Maybe he has like a lot of different lines, but they are all trying to do the same thing. And when MP plays Cube, he kind of tries to make like a toolbox of a lot of different things that he can capitalize on like his opponent's weaknesses, or maybe like let's say he's playing like the very small Hippowdon line. It's not something that I'd say anyone would play in this deck if they would have like a Ampharos and Manectric spread kind of package, but I think is a really good attacker in this cube in general. Fighting type also amazing against a lot of different attackers, and MP tends to play these kinds of decks, like the decks that are full of different things and different options and accelerations and spreads and everything else. In this case, I think lock is a more important part of his deck with disconnect and jamming, as you said. with spread being another important part. And he also has a curse stone to lock with disconnect. That's nasty. And
Absolutely. Mysterious players deck packed with these Haymaker cards, the Curse Stone, Power Hand Extension. We've got Scramble Energy. We've got Double Colorless. We've got Olympia and Pokemon Center healing Item Finder to recover those cards. So Mysterious player, even though he's kind of low on attackers, he has a lot of ways to make the attackers do as much as they possibly can.
mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of, a lot of the time the strength of Mysterious players decks in Cube come from the trainer line. Mysterious players really good at assembling these power plays, super high quality trainer lines with a lot of consistency. This time I actually think the consistency side of his trainer line is a little bit weaker, but the power play side of his consistency or his trainer line is really, really strong. So we're going to see if that can balance itself out. And normally, if you have a lighter weight attacking setup, which Mysterious Player I would say does in this case, got a couple of stage ones, they just need a couple of energy to attack. You don't really need to find other things. Then you can afford to spend more space on those playmakers. Whereas Zach, to what you said, his decks usually have a kind of a unified goal. So, he'll play different cards from different lines, essentially as many as he needs to make the strategy work, but they do contribute to this core strategy of, make big guys deal a lot of damage, make it hard for the opponent to revenge knockout easily. And so these decks are really opposite in that way. Mysterious player, low to the ground, power plays in the items, going to try and disrupt, make it hard for the opponent to set up, all those things. Zach is going to try and set up these big boards, lots of moving pieces. They're all going to come together and make Zach significantly harder to deal with if he can get there. And it seems like in this game, Zach is getting there. I don't think Mysterious Player is going to prevent him from getting set up, considering Zach already has most of the cards he will need
Oh
to
my
set up all
god.
game. Metagross comes down here too, and actually the Sunnyshore City Gym is an incredibly card for Zach in this matchup because Mysterious Player's Pokemon are resistant to metal in most cases, but Sunnyshore City Gym removes the resistance from by your electric Pokemon. And Zach has both Dragonite Delta and Metagross Delta that are both metal and lightning. So those resistances will get shut off by the Sunnyshore City Gym, meaning Zach is not going to have to contend with quite as many reductions as it might seem at first glance. I think that's a really neat aspect of this matchup.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I never noticed that Sunnyshore says that attacks from your lightning Pokemon don't get affected by resistance. Even if the resistance isn't lightning, that is a very important distinction. That is a very good text by the game designers. I'm very impressed actually that this weird this shouldn't happen, but it did, and it's nice and cool. And I'm kind of afraid for Zach here. His setup is very impressive, but we see Detour. Jirachi dies, activating Final Wish, so he gets to go into his deck, search for any card. His deck has a Scramble and a POW, and it's gonna not gonna end too well for Zach in this turn. We'll have to see how the Scramble POW and then Imposter Oak's Revenge turn is gonna end up.
Zach is triggering that Detour Jirachi. However, it did come off of the back of an Agility Heads, which means Mysterious Player does have to play the POW to deal any damage this turn. I think there's a decent chance Mysterious Player does do that, but I also don't think there's an amazing POW target in this case. The Energy Connect Ampharos means Zach will be able to push enough energy to the active to get out of wherever Mysterious Player goes. So there's not going to be an opportunity to stall. Mysterious Player could chase down an attacker like the Metagross Undaunted, but that does mean Zach's attacker is going to be in the active and he's going to be able to just swing right on back. And so Mysterious Player's hand looks solid and the Detour is scary, but I don't think it's as bad for Zach as it initially looks, at least not yet. Especially with Mysterious Player not having a way to get into the jamming Ampharos immediately, there is going to be then that transition point of the Flaffy, which could be a really vulnerable point in this. Metagross's Quad Smash does allow Zach to put 4 coins, 50 damage for each head. If he gets 3 heads, the Flaffy is just gone before it can even evolve. And Mysterious Player, we actually see retreating here. Going into that Hippowdon, we're going to see a Rock Tumble most likely for 90 damage. We are almost definitely going to see a POW before that, and I'm curious to see what Mysterious Player chases here. It's either going to be the Energy Connect Ampharos or the Porygon 2, most likely, just because the Metagross is not actually going to be knocked out, and he can't sink an attack into the active because it's got agility. So it could also be the Metang on the bench. I think that's a solid contender as well, just because the threatening pieces of Zach's deck are so often attached to the Metagross. So very interested to see what Mysterious Player decides is the best target for this POW here.
Yeah, I also have no idea what's the best target here. Like, shutting off Energy Connect is really important, even more in this matchup where you have acceleration from 2 lines, but also killing the Metang seems really solid. Hitting the Metagross is, like, fine, but not amazing. You can two-shot the Metagross. It also has 130 HP. It's so big. You can, like, 70 it, save an energy. Maybe you die, maybe you don't. If you don't die, you can 70 it again. But he does get the Ampharos into the active. Oh!
And he only does 90 because of the Sunnyshore.
Sunnyshore!
Coming back again. Really powerful in this match. And it's going to allow Zach to keep this Ampharos alive. Energy Connect up and just retreat, which is really, really strong. It's also going to mean that the Delta Ampharos probably comes back into the active just to take a 2-hit knockout on the Hippowdon because it's really safe. We could see Zach go into the Metagross here. I don't think he necessarily needs to. And actually, I can't see what's in Zach's hand. I don't know if you can either. But
no, yeah,
the Zerosic in Zach's deck could be really debilitating for Mysterious Player in this circumstance.
Yeah, this Sunnyshore is putting so much work in this matchup. It's already 2 turns of it being like the best card in play, basically. It prevented a knockout and it created another.
No Zerosic in the hand. So that means it's not going to be quite as easy of a play for Zach. Zach's hand is really good. Like, he basically has access to whatever card he wants, on the Pokemon side at least, of his deck. He's just got to decide what the best attack is here. What is the best play for the situation? And I don't really know myself.
Yeah.
I would not really want to be in Zach's shoes here just because I got to figure out exactly how I want to play this turn. I think attacking with the Dragonite is pretty good. The biggest problem is Rock Tumble does go through resistance, so if Mysterious Player gets a Curse Stone in play at any point, then that will knock out the Delta Dragonite. So I think Zach might actually just go into the Metagross here and swing big. The Metagross Undaunted. Of course, he is going to have access to a bunch more cards with the Metagross Delta, and we could actually see with the Energy Connect, does Zach have the energy to go for the Crush and Burn?
It is 130 that he's going after, so it's 30, 50, 70, 90, 110. Yes, he has. He can do that.
He's got to discard energy off the Ampharos to retreat it, which is relevant.
Oh, that is a problem, yes. But he has also 1 energy on the Cleffa, 1 energy from Delta Charge and 1 from Active.
He can Energy Connect 2 Lightnings to the active. He can retreat and then Delta Charge 1 of those Lightnings.
Yeah.
Go into the Delta Metagross. Then attach return. So Zach is essentially at parity. He has exactly the number of energy he has in play before the retreat. And so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is going to be enough to knock out this Hippowdon, actually. Totally cold.
Wow.
I think Zach only has to discard 5 of those to actually take the knockout as well. Because, once again,
Sunnyshore
City Gym.
Oh my god. It's so good.
Mysterious Player, it's funny too, because Mysterious Player has talked smack historically on Sunnyshore City Gym a lot, but Zach does decide, or he hasn't talked smack specifically on that card, but on weakness reduction in general, Mysterious Player generally is not a fan of that, and so anytime I see the weakness reduction cards coming into play, I always get a little bit of a laugh out of that. But Zach does decide to go with the more conservative play here of just going into the Metagross and then using that quad smash to deal just a bunch of damage. There is a chance the Hippowdon goes down here. 75 Zach would have to flip 75% heads, so 3 out of 4. But it's doable. You know, it's not like Zach needs to flip 3 out of 3 heads. It's also possible that Zach flips 1 or 0 heads. So, you know, the average damage on the Metagross is 100. So if we assume it's gonna deal 100, then Zach will still have the potential to take the knockout. I think Zach
Sorry, go ahead.
Definitely. Go ahead.
I was wondering if he was going to go for strength because it doesn't really change the math, but he can high row, I guess, with quad smash. So tails. No, the 0 heads. Oh my
Wow.
god.
Well, that just means he's going to flip four heads later.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering if you go for the accept your two shot and don't try to flip too many coins. But I don't even think that was the right play because even one heads is enough here to do anything. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I think the I think the quad smash was correct.
Yeah, I agree.
One head pretty cleanly sets up the two hit knockout. Um, I think the crush and burn play would have been better though, given how easy it is for Zach to just get tons and tons of energy in play. The crush and burn play would have put Mysterious Player back pretty significantly. Zach, of course, would have to find a way to get that Metagross Delta back out of the active spot, but he would have some time to do that. This way, Zach still endangers a bunch of his energy, but he doesn't stand to gain as much.
So we see Rowan here. He saves his a Imposter Oak's Revenge. I wonder when is the right time to play that card because at the
It's
moment,
been chilling in his hand for a while.
yeah, at the moment MP's hand is really good. I don't think he can discard anything. MP goes for the 90, doesn't elect to save the energy hitting 70. I don't know if there's some math changes with that or not, but um, we're gonna see
Yeah,
now if Zach wants to take the one shot or not. The awkward part here is that Air Balloon is not Float Stone, so he still needs to discard 2 energies to retreat. He doesn't have any way to go
yeah.
with that Tailwind Dragonite, right?
Ideally, Zach would ideally find a different way out of the active, but I don't think he plays one.
So are we quad smashing again?
Could be.
Oh, jeez.
I
Well,
think Quad
now
Smash is a fine play. Zach is actually really struggling here with that Cleffa on his bench. So with decks like this, where you really get value out of all of your bench spaces, you have lots of powers going off and lots of synergies. When you have a Pokemon that's sitting on your bench and not contributing to your game plan, it makes it kind of difficult
yes,
to do what you want to do.
agreed.
And
Yeah.
so Zach does have the Scott here. We could see a Zerosic on that scramble energy.
That would be so. What happens then? Do you accept the 70? Do you quad smash again? Do we maybe take away the DCE on the
I
Ampharos
think
so
maybe chasing the DCE might be good, and then just quad smashing the active.
he doesn't?
Yeah, yeah. See what happens. Oh, starts with a tails. No.
No. Okay, one
Oh,
heads. Okay, okay, okay.
okay, okay.
100 damage. Okay, okay.
It could be much worse than that.
Yes, we've seen how bad it is. And I just realized that now that Gemin is in play, Zach is not using supporters not with download anymore. He will only use supporters with the Sporygun 2 from now on because he doesn't want to start collecting damage on all of his Pokemon, especially on that
Yeah,
Cleffa, which is gonna die really fast when the jamming pings start coming.
yeah, it is an interesting dynamic, right? Because the Porygon 2 deck is usually loaded with supporters, but they do have a way to circumvent the opposing jamming and the impact of that. So, very interesting situation. And usually, and I think given that Zach has that Kleppa on the bench, that it'll take 10 from the jamming, and then it can immediately be cleaned up by the Cluster Bolt of that same Ampharos because it has the energy attached. And so what we'll probably see is Zach just avoids playing trainers or supporters whenever possible.
So here's a conundrum for MP. MP knows that there is a Zerosic in Zach's hand, and now I think is one of the best times he has to use this Imposter Oaks. He has also Bridget in hand, a card he is very happy to discard at this point in the game. So will we see it? Because how many cards are in that
We have
hand?
to see, we have to see Imposter Oaks Revenge this turn.
11 cards in that hand. And for those who don't remember, Imposter Oak's Revenge is you have to discard a card and then you red card them, so they have to shuffle in all 4 cards.
And I think what we probably see here is if Zach gets to keep the hand, then he probably just goes Lusamine for the Sunnyshore, so he can save an energy, knock out the Hippowdon with either of his lightning
True.
attackers that have. And Mysterious Player still keeps the Imposter Oak.
Wow. Why? What is he waiting for? That's so weird.
He clearly prioritizes it for something. I'm not 100% sure what. Zach is going to go into that Cleffa with free retreat. And also draw the Speed Lightning, which is going to allow him to see even more cards. I think the Lusamine here is really strong. Lusamine's going to be able to find Sunnyshore City Gym if Zach does decide to go for that. Put that back in play. Both shut off the weaknesses on Zach's side of the board, which are occasionally relevant in the matchup, but they are also it's also going to allow Zach to either save an energy or use an agility to take a knockout. So and we actually see a Palmer's Contribution off the download this turn. So I'm gonna be sending back the Metagross line that was just knocked out, not the additional energy. Zach wants to have a few in discard to be able to use his other stadiums, that kind of thing. But so he's kind of looking at the long game as opposed to the tempo play here. And ideally, the Delta Control probably just finds a Beldum, allows Zach to get another Pokemon on bench.
He can Stormy Mountains for the... Oh no, it's... not every Beldum is Lightning type. Haha.
Lightning and Dragon.
Yeah. Sorry, Meta Knight player here. Not every Beldum is Lightning type. It's interesting that now that Sunnyshore is not in play, how do we knock out this Hippowdon? Do we not knock out it? Because it's not going to attack next turn, right?
It has to come from the Crush and Burn, and it just requires a discard instead of being totally free. It's not as though Zach is going to, lose out tremendously on this play, but it's, it's just another thing that he's going to have to keep in mind, another resource he's going to be pressured on.
Boomer Brain kicked out again, and I thought the resistance was still minus 30, but that's not happening since 2007. So yes, one discard from Crush and Burn is all you take. So yeah, that's... Oh no!
Actually, look at Dragonite. Maybe Zach doesn't realize his resistance, or maybe he's planning to play Lusamine from hand. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe he accepts... I don't know. I think he was really struggling to get another Beldum in play, and he really likes the Metagross line. Either that one, the Quad Smash, or something else. So we'll have to see what he does here. But I hope he didn't forget about the Stormy Mountains. But it's actually...
Okay, so he's probably going to go for Heavy Impact.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Oh, no. That's an agility for 10.
Yep. 10 damage. I mean, I don't know if that's a bad play. Of course, we have the information that MP has an Acerola in his hand, but Zach doesn't. So even going agility here is not that bad because Scrumble is turned off at the moment, and that Hippowdon has 4 retreat. So he wouldn't be able to attack.
We do see a rare misplay from Zach Krekeler. He does unfortunately miss the resistance. Zach says agility is fine, no big deal. A mysterious player allows him to take it back, but Zach says, no, I'm good. I'm just going to keep the attack. Hippowdon does still take 10, so I'm going to... agility is 30. So I'll say Hippowdon does still take 10. And then... we are gonna see what Mysterious Player does here. Mysterious Player has the Acerola, which allows the Hippowdon to get out of the active. But Hippowdon doesn't really do anything if Mysterious Player doesn't get it out of the active. The Scramble is now turned off. Mysterious Player's taken the prize. So it's not like this is going to be able to get some tremendous amount of value.
And that item finder doesn't really find anything important from the discard. There's a Curse Stone there, but... As MP probably knows, Zach plays a lot of stadiums in Lusamine, which he hasn't used it yet, so he probably has that in mind. Yeah. But I don't see any other play other than Acerola here, and he does go for it.
Yeah, he goes for the Acerola. Mysterious Player could still go into the Manectric EX and then play the Curse Stone, lock Zach down that way, because It does... prevent Zach from actually playing a stadium to counter it, and then Mysterious Player would get at least one turn of Curse Stone tick. Most likely, that Manectric EX is going to be knocked out as soon as it enters the active, given how many energy Zach has in play, and there's the Delta Metagross as well, but it's not a guarantee.
But do you remember Manectric's resistance?
That is true.
Metal
you could
type.
Still see the Sunnyshore come back into play, though. Zach
not if
has that option. Well,
not if disconnect. Yes, not if disconnect is on the line.
Metagross would have to discard 5 at that point, which Zach is able to do still.
I guess it's not an amazing play if there is an option to one shot the Manectric. You can hold that play until I guess later in the future when if that play is available at any moment, locking a Curse Stone here would be quite crazy. There are currently
Hmm.
5 Pokemon with Poke Powers in play, including that Beldum. The Beldum's gonna evolve. There is a Metang in the hand, but it is still taking 10 damage. The things that don't evolve, however, are going to take a lot of damage. That Ampharos is going to get knocked out really fast. But we're gonna have to see what MP does here. I think going slow is not a bad play. You can just Cluster Boat. I think he's preparing to retreat, though. Does he want to disconnect? We're going to have to wait and see what he does. Cluster Boat wouldn't... It would do like 40 extra damage. Manectric? Electric in the active. Does he have a way to go into...
MP's gonna pass on it. Zach's got the agility immunity. MP can't get around it.
Yeah, I guess.
And that's going to buy Zach some pretty critical time here. Zach's going to be able to get into that Matang on the bench, probably attach a Speed Lightning, maybe draw some cards. They're get another Delta Charge. So Zach's got a lot of things going now that maybe didn't seem like as much of an option last turn. Notably, Mysterious Player is now down the Acerola. Of course, Mysterious Player has a way to get it back in the item finder, but it's depleting those big power plays is a critical element of what Zach is going to have to do to win this match.
We've talked about that item finder for a few turns now, so that is like a very important card in MP's hand. He has to really think about the moment to fire that off.
I think Mysterious Player, given how he's been playing thus far, is kind of eyeing up this Imposter Oak's Revenge, Cursed Stone, Disconnect turn, and hopefully ending the game with it. Um,
Yes.
Is that going to be possible? Who knows? Zach has a lot of support in play that will allow him to play through even that level of a lock, and I think the result of that is that Mysterious Player doesn't really want to attack into Zach here, or it doesn't really want to go all in on that kind of a play. So I wonder if we see the Coronet this turn just to get the metal energy back. Zach does have the speed lightning energy, but getting another metal down would allow that Metagross Undaunted to come up pretty uncontested in
Mm-hmm.
this case.
That would be next turn, but that's really good. There's also the problem of... Well, it's not a problem per se now, but when eventually that other Manectric comes into the active and starts spreading 30 into every power, that thing needs to die immediately. If that card gets 2 attacks, that's like over 120 damage per turn. With, yeah, exactly, after the Metang evolved, 120 per turn. So there's already an Electric in the active, so we'll have to see what Zach does. I think Heavy Impact is like you just Heavy Impact and take the knockout. You're not protected by agility anymore, but you don't really need to. There's no way that MP gets 100 damage with this board next turn. He does have a Scramble live, but I still don't think it's possible to get 100 damage done to this Dragonite.
So Mysterious Player could go Scramble to Hippowdon and then get that Curse Stone. Either this turn or get the
Oh,
Curse
Rock
Stone out later
Tumble
in the game.
goes over resistance, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so Zach has to be pretty careful about what he wants to do this turn. I think he'll probably just play it pretty safe. He might just go for another agility, deal some chip damage. Kind of. Nope, he's gonna retreat. All right, let's see what Zach decides to do.
You're crushing and burning?
We
Or...
could see a miraculous thunder too. Oh, Zach might.
E-
Zach is just gonna force Mysterious Player to flip to attack. I think.
Oh my god. Not even gonna
That's
easy.
exactly what he's doing. Zach is like, okay, you're gonna give me all this time. I'm gonna take it, and I'm just gonna put up this Cleffa and make it so that if you do decide you want to go on the aggressive, now you are gonna have to flip to even attempt to do that.
Yeah, this Clef is so annoying for MP to go through. And he's...
Well,
I don't know if he's getting out of time, because he does have a lot of resources still. But I don't know if he wins the long game against Zach.
I think he almost certainly doesn't. He has. There's a chance. It's not impossible for Mysterious Player to win the long game just because of that cursed stone. possibility. But Zach is going to have to really play into it, and he's probably going to have to draw pretty poorly off of an imposter oak. And also, if the Cleffa is active, then the series player is not necessarily going to be able to do that for free anyway.
That is
So,
true.
a very interesting situation here. Both players are just kind of staring at each other. Zach promotes the Cleffa, says, "Well, if you knock this out, then that's good for me. And if you try to knock it out and fail, then that's even better." Zach clearing up that bench space would be pretty nice. I imagine he'd be pretty happy to have that. We are going to see probably the Metagross Undaunted come back into play, which is a really great asset for Zach.
This is just a drop-ass game, and it's like turn 20. Cube is crazy.
Do you know who won game one?
This is game 3.
This is game 3. Oh my god.
Yes, they are 1-1.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, it's hard to say that they're playing for the time, because 33 minutes are still left in the round.
Oh, no, they are not.
I think Zach would be in a decent spot in time, provided Mysterious Player, provided time doesn't happen exactly where Mysterious Player would be able to take this Cleffa knockout and win the game that way. But, there are still going to be +3 turns no matter what.
And they are actually playing pretty fast for, like, the game is slow, but the players are not, like, taking 15 seconds per action. They are draw passing, actually.
The players are playing pretty quickly, but, they're not really doing anything.
They are not.
I really like Fort's comment in the chat here. To quote Pokemon Stadium announcer, "The Pokemon are eyeing each other warily."
Yes, they are.
It really feels like that in this case. Zach might also just be playing for the deck out here. Zach has the Lusamine for the Palmer's contribution, also has access to the Cleffa to go for the Eek too, and just essentially perpetually allow him to keep cards in his deck. Mysterious Player, on the other hand, is on a timer. Eventually, Mysterious Player is going to have to do something just to keep from decking out. It's not going to be immediately, but it's going to have to happen.
Oh my god. I can't believe we're seeing, like, many turns of draw pass. Like, they are doing other things, but they're not attacking. There are so many good attackers in this. I think Zach is just being very wary of that scramble, especially. That Hippowdon is not easy for him to knock out. He needs to have an answer for Manectric. He needs to have an answer for jamming. And those guys are so thick. And, of course, we're not even talking about the Pokemon Center lady in hand.
Well, Zach is in an interesting position now, where Mysterious Player passes again on the Electrike. Oh my gosh, this game is wild. So what can happen now is Zach can download this Xerosic, drop the Scramble Energy off the Hippowdon, and then maybe just kind of go in.
We'll have to see if this is the best play that he has. I do like it because I think promoting that Hippowdon while Scramble is active would be the best thing to do. So getting the Scramble out is just an amazing play for MP. And he didn't use the Imposter Oak earlier, so that is kind of... I don't know if it's coming back to bite him, or if it's good for him to maybe take a good turn now and try to stop Zach from playing. He does use the Xerosic. Yep.
Comes out onto the Scramble. Okay.
Yes. One thing that I'm kind of worried here is that the Ampharos is going to cluster bolt very hard in this board. That's going to be 80 extra damage.
It is, but I don't think that damage is super relevant, is the thing. It's going to soften up the Metagross a little bit, still got 110 HP, soften up the Dragonite to 80, which is relevant, and then put the Cleffa at 10. But it doesn't take knockouts. It doesn't pressure the stuff that's already damaged as well. So... And then Zach actually just decides to go into this Metagross Crush and Burn, take the knockout with the Scramble Energy out of play, and put Mysterious Player in this position where he has to decide how he's going to approach this game.
Yeah, it's not easy for either of the players. I think Zach does have kind of the upper hand now after the Xerosic on the Scramble.
For sure. Mysterious Player has given him a lot of time, and Zach's deck does a lot of scary things with time.
Yeah. Raihan does set up another attack with that Hippowdon because he does attack for 1 fighting, 2 colorless. So getting a lightning back, getting a lightning from hand, he could be able to sand. Is that Sand Bazooka? That is Sand Bazooka. He could be able to hit. Probably
Zach,
die.
Zach does take a pretty clean knockout on whatever Mysterious Player puts up, because the Mysterious Player is not going to be able to find a knockout this turn. Even Mysterious Player's absolute top damage output. He's actually out of scrambles. He's out of DRE. He's out of DCE. So the best attack he can use with Hippowdon is Sand Bazooka. So the highest damage Mysterious Player is going to be able to put out with any of the Pokemon in play is 80 with that Manectric EX. And then Curse Stone could come down and deal the 90, but that's not enough. It doesn't take a knockout. And
I can
so
find her.
most likely what we're going to see is Mysterious Player Zach is going to get another knockout with this Delta Metagross.
It's finally happening.
And Mysterious Player decides this is the time. Curse Stone coming down. And Mysterious Player probably going to go into this Manectric EX and just disconnect, try and put Zach under a ton of pressure. Zach is going to lose not lose the energy. Yes, actually, Energy Connect Ampharos is going to go down, coming out of Mysterious Player's next turn.
Okay, that is good. That is one extra knockout. You don't really want to play around with Scramble, so getting extra knockouts doesn't really matter. Did he use the power already? I think he did. He did use the power earlier, right? Yeah, he used the power to put the 90 on the Ampharos. So yeah, we do see disconnect with Curse Stone. Anyone who played Mewtrick in 2006 did that a million times already. So Curse Stone sticks in play for at least 3 extra ticks. One this turn, then Zach has to pass, cannot play a Stadium. Probably kills the Manectric because he cannot let that thing stay in play. But one thing that I found really interesting is that MP got back TSD, but he didn't get back, like, Raihan. He had to use the Raihan for the TSD. If he had Raihan, he could have used it to get another Manectric EX into play, because I think at that point, your Curse Stone kind of wins the game by itself. What's
probably going to happen here is the Manectric EX is going to be knocked out. Okay, so we do see the Lusamine discarded from Zach with the download. So Zach has ideas. He wants a Sunnyshore. Can't play it right now because he's disconnected. And he's going to get the Palmers back so he doesn't deck out and he can recover his attackers. I think we almost certainly... Oh, Zach actually has a full board. I was going to say we see a Beldum come down. We're going to see a Beldum come down after some of Zach's Pokemon are knocked out. But Zach is essentially using this Lusamine in preparation for the following turn. I'm a little bit confused about Mysterious Player's decision not to use Imposter Oak there. Unless he really anticipates needing either the Ampharos or the TSD, but a little bit of an odd one. And then, so we're going to see a Delta Charge from Zach. Zach is actually out of energy to attach, at least from hand. We do see a Delta Control as well. Zach's going to dig 4 cards into the deck, find a Counter Catcher, and then I don't think we've seen a Delta Charge already, so we probably will see that. And then Zach, I imagine, is just going to go in, take this knockout on the Metagross or on the Manectric EX, and put Mysterious Player in kind of a difficult spot.
Yeah.
Ideally for Zach, I think he can just discard all the energy off the active, because if Mysterious Player's out of POWs and stuff, he can't chase something else, and then that endangers as few energy as possible from the Metagross.
Yeah, I agree. This Metagross is almost surely going down. Crush and Burn is discarding 5 for 100.
5, yep.
Yes,
we're probably going to see all 3 off the active and then 2 off the Dragonite Delta. Lightning, metal, and I imagine the last metal coming off the active, just because if Mysterious Player, Zach doesn't... Okay, so the last Lightning actually came off the Dragonite. Zach is essentially saying, I'm going to make it so Mysterious Player can't leave this Metagross stranded active. I don't think that's too pressing of a concern, but it is a possibility. And then Zach is actually going to go down to 2 prizes because that Manectric EX is worth 2 prizes in this cube. I think Zach may have actually discarded the energy off the Dragonite on the bench just to prevent the Cluster Bolt from dealing more damage and possibly endangering that Dragonite to be knocked out. So Mysterious Player is probably going to bounce back a couple prizes here. Going to take a knockout on the active, going to take a knockout on the bench Ampharos. Now Mysterious Player finally uses the Imposter Oak's Revenge.
Oh, God.
Now that Zach's going to lose access to the Delta Control to get potentially the Stadium right away, and basically make the odds of Zach missing the Stadium counter as high as possible.
Yeah, I think that was a good plan to have after you lose your draw engine. You try to get them screwed. But if you take a look at that hand, that second card, Cynthia's Feelings, is going to draw up to 8 cards. Shuffle draw 8. Very, very strong. We'll have to see if Zach, with only 16 cards, he has a 50% chance, plus 1, I guess, because he can draw it now, to draw this stadium card right now. And he can even use another supporter if he wants to, if he doesn't care about jamming this turn. I think he does. He's been playing around jamming the whole time. So, we see there's Stadium. Stadium is there. Sunnyshore is going to bounce Curstone. And that's not a problem anymore because that Curstone would have most likely won the game for MP if it stays there.
Weldon comes down, Delta Charge attaches to the Metagross. Zach is going to be able to retreat and Quad Smash, and maybe he will make good on those 4 tails from earlier in the game.
Not this again. I don't have the heart to watch Zach do this again. I wonder where he discarded the energy from the Cleffa. That was interesting, yeah, because of Cluster Road, of course.
Yeah, Zach has really insulated himself well against Cluster Bolt now.
This is going to be so hard to watch.
Mysterious Player is going to, even though Mysterious Player is only at 3 prizes, he is going to have to do quite a bit in these last few turns because he's basically out of ways to not deck out. He's only got 4 cards left, and Zach didn't lose from the Curse Stone play. You know, he was able to recover, and Mysterious Player kind of needed that not to happen.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if Manectric is prize for MP, if it's platinum, right? Yeah, I think because it is a really decent attacker at this time. So Metagross comes to the active. I'm pretty sure he's gonna Quad Smash. He could strength.
Probably. We probably see the Quad Smash. I can't imagine not going for the Quad Smash just because on average you do deal more damage than strength. You set yourself up for more possible good outcomes.
Yeah.
And also, of course, you could just knock it out. Seems like Zach is really considering deeply on this one. He really doesn't want to flip fewer than 2 heads.
Oh my god, this is so hard to watch. If we're gonna have to see... Oh, yeah, he has another attachment from hand. He's typing Quad Smash. How many coins? Tails.
There's 1.
Heads.
Heads.
Tails. Heads. Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yes, that is really good because now agility kills the Hippowdon. If he flips heads on agility, that is hard for MP to come back from. And oh god, or not.
Another 2 heads on a second Quad Smash in Pokemon Center Lady is not going to actually save the Hippowdon. It's going to mean the Mysterious Player might just play the supporter for no gain.
I mean, he does have a paw pad, so he probably uses the PCL now so he can pulp at PCL next to Rolla. Maybe there's another card there. I don't know if Raihan is a better target. You could also
You'd have to palp at next turn. I don't think Raihan is going to be particularly strong because Mysterious Player's only got 3 cards left. Raihan actually accelerates his deck out timeline pretty quickly.
I guess, yeah.
And so he does decide to keep the Palpad. He might be saving it for next turn when he can send back both the PCL and the Acerola. Yeah. He's still kind of on the deck out train. There's nothing that he can do to stop that. We do see a Castaway grab with the Porygon 2 for Palmer's contribution, which allows Zach to recover all kinds of stuff out of the discard, and then up to 2 other cards. Zach does fail at that point, though, so just the Palmer's contribution, no energy, no tool. I don't know if Zach has either of those cards left in the deck. See a Metang come down. We're going to see a Delta Charge probably onto that Metang, probably a Lightning Energy attached to the Metang. Just make it so that this Quad Smash Metagross can come out again
the third
after
time.
Zach recovers it. And I imagine we're just going to see another Quad Smash here,
Of course, yes. I have. Now there's absolutely no reason to go for the Quad Smash. You already flipped 4 tails. It's no way it happens again. Strength doesn't really do anything for you. 2 heads is average.
4 heads come through, when you really just need 2.
I guess that is the moment where it comes the most. So Quad Smash.
Here we go. Quad Smash.
Tails.
Oh man, Zach
heads.
Starts it off with a tail. There's
heads.
And a heads. Okay.
150.
The 3 heads as well. Not that it matters.
Oh,
I mean, what did
Metagross.
we say? This is where Zach gets good luck on the flips, and he did, even though it maybe was not
Uh,
the ideal time.
yeah. Now MP does have the revenge knockout, but he he knows that he has Palmer's in hand. That guy is just gonna come back a few turns from now, and now we see Paul Pad for probably two recovery supporters. Yes, Ace, Rule, and PCL. I doubt that
Exactly what
this.
you predicted.
Yeah, I doubt that this Ampharos dies in one hit. So, ooh, TSD
TSD heads, tails, heads. All right.
40
I don't know
doesn't
what that yields from a
kill.
Mysterious player.
Yeah, I don't know what he like. Of course, we. Yeah, he probably wants Manectric. Like I'm pretty sure he's playing around drawing this Manectric from Platinum at some point from his prizes because one attack is enough to kill the Porygon 2 and start setting up the Dragonite. Maybe he has like a if you attack the Dragonite, you put 30 more, and then you just Mega Shot it for a game because you only have three prizes. If you kill like Porygon, Dragonite, and probably this Metagross dies this turn, that is game for you. So he's probably eyeing something of that note because getting the second Electric does not make sense if Manectric is not in the prizes.
Yeah, Mysterious player is kind of queuing up this Manectric, the Mega Shot to finish up the game for him. And I think that's a good strategy. But he is still going to have to take one more knockout in addition to that. So we do see the Ampharos take a knockout here. And the real question that I have is how does Zach follow up from here?
He still didn't draw the Manectric. It's in the last two prizes. And Zach is also in a really tough situation. Thankfully, the Sunnyshore, I think the MVP of this game, is allowing Dragonite to hit the Ampharos for no resistance. He couldn't start to agility. He is in knockout range for Cluster Bolt if it goes wrong. The coin flip, of course. He can also maybe try to. No, he can't dig. He can't use any decent support receiver.
I think we probably see a Palmer's contribution into a Sage's training. I think Zach finally plays into the jamming, takes a little bit of damage. It doesn't actually hurt his math too bad. It makes the Dragonite knocks the Dragonite out in one attack, as opposed to two attacks. But Zach does stand to just win the game this turn. If Zach can find Delta Metagross and an attachment, then he will win the game.
Is that knockout? Because we have 1, 2, 3.
5 energy plus Sunnyshore City Gym.
Oh, Sunnyshore!
Zach is going to see every single card in his deck except for one.
Oh,
so if
no.
one of the cards that he needs is one of those last cards, then he could lose the game. But if he finds it here, Zach will win the round. We see Delta Metagross, and the Lightning Energy. That is going to be the game for Zach with a gigantic Crush and Burn for 130 with Sunnyshore City Gym preventing that resistance for the knockout.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. Sunnyshore.
I have never seen such a good Sunnyshore City Gym.
And I don't think I ever will. Doing both weakness and resistance on dual types. Not even lightning, but metal and lightning. Both. Wow. This was amazing.
Do you know what order they won the games? It's not a big deal. I know Zach won the set, but I'm just getting their match logged in Limitless.
I have no idea.
All right, I reported that. I'm sure Zach is really happy to not have to continue playing, considering it is 6 in the morning in Japan, where Zach currently is living.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's probably going straight to bed. Gonna prepare for day 2, which he is on day 2 right now because he is 2-0. Of course, everyone who goes 2-0 or 2-1 in champs goes to day 2. So we'll probably have to see him dig his way, maybe try to get the 2-1, go to day 2. There's a lot of players who want who are going to be playing the 1-1 match in round 3. So we'll have to see who plays. Well, what's the best matchup for us to watch here? But this was amazing. This game was crazy.
Yeah, this game was insane. Like back and forth. both players had some instances where they maybe didn't make the best possible plays. Mysterious players talking about some misplays right now. And of course, we saw the Zach misplay where he didn't get the Sunnyshore City Gym back. Um, but yeah, I mean that was a phenomenal match to watch, just from a spectator point of
Yes.
view.
Two decks very different from one another. Sunny Shore being the best card I've ever seen in this matchup. And every card in Zach deck worked really hard. And kinda got stuck without the really good Manectric that would have been. Like, he still dies in one turn from Crush and Burn. I think he still has resistance, but it doesn't matter with Sunny Shore up. But still, one for like 90 damage, maybe more, depending on the turn you use it. Really good attacker. So yeah, that's the end of round 2 here, and we'll take a break. And I guess we'll see you in round 3.